Good morning and welcome. Today, our hearts are especially filled with gratitude for our amazing volunteers who serve in big and small ways to co-create our beloved faith community, and we're so glad you're here with us. If you would like to learn more about how you can become part of our congregation, please stop by the welcome table in the foyer to speak with a member of our congregation or fill out a visitor form on our website at www.unitytemple.org, and we'll follow up with you next week. We look forward to hearing from you and to getting to know you. And now, please enjoy the service.
There's a bright golden haze on the meadow. There's a bright golden haze on the meadow. The corn is as high as an elephant's eye, and it looks like it's climbing clear up to the sky. The sounds of the earth are like music. All the sounds of the earth are like music. The breeze is so busy it don't miss a tree. And an old weeping willow is laughing at me.
Good morning. It is a beautiful morning. My name is Matthew Bruce. I use he, him pronouns, and I serve on your board of trustees. It is my pleasure to welcome you here this morning. If you are here for the first time, thank you for joining us. We look forward to getting to know you. We invite everyone present in the sanctuary today to join our in-person community time immediately following the service. Our online Zoom community time will happen right after the service as well. The link can be found in the e-beacon or Saturday's email, or you may send an email yourself to tlewis@unitytemple.org to request the link. There are many announcements in the e-beacon as well. I want to point out one you'll see more information about. On June 12th, immediately following the service, we'll have an all-congregation potluck, so I hope you'll save the date. We appreciate everyone wearing a mask over your mouth and nose during the service as a way to protect each other. If you find yourself needing a break from wearing a mask, we invite you to go out on the patio and come back when you're ready. Each week, we remind ourselves of our congregation's core values: connection, transformation, justice, and acceptance. Our mission is to embody these core values in our daily lives by welcoming all, inspiring compassion, nurturing wonder, and serving community. Unitarian Universalists uphold 7 principles, which can be found on our website. Our congregation is beginning to explore participation in the nationwide UU movement, currently considering an 8th principle. We've actually gone well down the path considering this, in which we would covenant to affirm and promote journeying towards spiritual wholeness by working to build a diverse, multicultural, beloved community by our actions that accountably dismantle racism and other oppressions in ourselves and our institution. Look for more information about this in the e-beacon and other communications in the coming weeks. We are so glad that you are with us today. We hope you find the service inspiring and meaningful. I invite you now to take a moment to greet one another, both online and here in the sanctuary.
Our chalice lighter this morning is Olivia Bruce. She loves to dance, and sometimes she likes to pretend that she's on the dwarf planet Pluto. We are Unitarian Universalists. This is the church of the open mind, the loving hearts, and the helping hands. We take care of the planet Earth and each other. Our call to worship words are in part from the Reverend Elizabeth Strong. Come into this time of worship and community. Come into this celebration of our flower communion ritual. Come in with open minds and hearts and spirits. It has taken long months beneath cold ground for these flowers to prepare their blooming. It has taken each of us long times of growth through sorrow and joy to prepare for our living now. The blooming season is short. The flowers stay only a brief time. Therefore, let our moments be bountiful. Let us rejoice in our unique colors, aromas, and sounds. Let us celebrate together in love, that as we travel away, we take with us the memory of golden hours together among the flowers. Whoever you are, wherever you are on your life journey, wherever you are in the world, you are welcome here. Come, let us worship together. I invite you to rise in body and spirit. We're going to sing hymn number 153, Oh, I Woke Up This Morning. Oh, I woke up this morning with my mind, and it was stayed on freedom. Woke up this morning with my mind, and it was stayed on freedom. Woke up this morning with my mind, and it was stayed on freedom. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. I was walking and talking with my mind, and it was stayed
invite you to join us in the words of our covenant. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God. Thank you.
Just as we're going to celebrate the vibrant jostle of flowers a little later in the service, this morning we're going to offer our gratitude to the glorious bouquet of volunteers at Unity Temple Unitarian Universalist Congregation. So many hearts and hands and voices lend their time, talents, and presence in an infinite number of ways, some visible and some invisible, some probably even more invisible than usual. A few of those very volunteers from our Board of Trustees, Amanda Coletta-Cott, Matthew Bruce, and Michael Weeks, are going to name some of the ways those volunteers help our congregation live out our mission. If something applies to you, I invite you to wave. You can get up and dance. You can, rise, whatever you like. And we're going to do all the hoot and hollering and applause at the very end.
We celebrate the many aspects of engagement and membership. We celebrate those who serve on the Hospitality Committee and Sunday morning volunteer greeting team. That includes our greeters, our ushers, our welcome table, our kitchen support, our membership committee and pathway to facilitators, our engagement committee and pathway to renewal team, our connections committee, our care committee and celebration of life reception team and bakers, the video production team. We celebrate those who are front desk volunteers, retreat organizers, and sports coordinators.
We celebrate the many aspects of finance and stewardship of people and places and of our institution. We celebrate those who serve on the Finance and Investment Committee, the Nominating Committee, the Stewardship Charter Team, soon to be the Stewardship Committee, Congressional Properties Committee, the Charter Team, 2022 Annual Fund Drive Team, our Community Transformation Team, and our Personnel Team, Personnel Committee. We celebrate those who are Unity Temple Restoration Foundation representatives, UTP representatives, and those that help us serving as lawyers, Adam Gill and Ed Malone.
Before I get started, there's a very special volunteer that I would like to wish a very happy birthday to, who just happens to be my wife. Anke Weeks, happy birthday. We celebrate the many aspects of worship and music that create experiences here in the sanctuary. We celebrate those who served on tech support team for live stream services, very, 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 very important. Served on the worship committee, got trained as a worship associate or liturgical assistant, served on the music ministry team, the Schubert Festival planning team, vocal music scholarship competition, the all ages choir. If you sing with the Unity Temple Choir, you sang in the Unity Temple, Return of the Unity Temple Choir concert, participated in the Spring Music Festival, participated in musical offerings for our services, activities, or for our concerts by singing, reading, playing an instrument. If you have volunteered for the many events and services in support of music at Unity Temple, if you have attended, bought a ticket, or made a donation to one of our concerts.
We celebrate the many aspects of faith in action, of people helping to make a difference in the world. Those who serve or support our eco-justice team, food rescue, housing forward, immigrant and refugee response team, reproductive justice team, restorative justice team, or vote love team. those who participated in compassionate service, helping to alleviate hunger and homelessness, improve literacy, providing holiday gifts for families, working in community gardens, facilitating peace circles, providing ministry in prisons, being a pen pal with someone in prison, or helping immigrants, refugees, and asylum seekers. We celebrate those who served on our 8th principal team, who are now working to launch an anti-racism, anti-oppression, multiculturalism team, participated in the UU Advocacy Network of Illinois, the Faith in Action Strategy Team, or Leadership Corps, the Community of Congregations, or attended any of our Faith in Action events, advocated for our shared values by contacting your elected officials, filing a witness slip, attending a rally, protest, or lobby day, contributed to any of our Sunday collections, supporting 30 different community organizations through our Share the Plate program.
We celebrate those who help care for one another, learn from one another, support one another in many different ways. We celebrate those who served with our children, in youth, in classrooms and gatherings and OWL and on Zoom, with My Hat, Movies with Meaning, Soul Connections, Mindful Meditation, Pathways to Recovery, on our Religious Education Committee for Children and Youth, or our Adult Religious Enrichment Team, on our Inspiring Compassion team, on our Transition team with our interim minister, on the intern committee with our intern minister, on the Pastoral Associates, on our Committee on Shared Ministry charter team, or on our Congressional Health and Reconciliation team. We celebrate those if you made a meal or provided a ride or otherwise helped someone in our congregation.
There are certainly things we've forgotten, and there's certainly things that you each have done that have made all the difference, and we thank you. And if you found that this inspires you to serve in a new way, please let me or the board or a staff person know. And I would certainly be remiss if I didn't honor the innumerable contributions of your elected Board of Trustees. In a moment, we're going to invite you to participate in the responsive litany, but before we do, we need to honor one particular volunteer.
Hi, I'm Marty Swisher. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm the music director here. And it is hundreds of volunteers and volunteer hours have been given to the congregation through the choir, through 2 services on those Sundays. But there's one person who has sung in the choir who is now going to step aside for other things, that she sung in it for over 40 years. And we cannot have this opportunity to thank volunteers without thanking our very precious and meaningful member, Shirley Lunding.
Hi, I just have to add something on behalf of the Caring Ministry. And Shirley, I have to read this because I think I'm going to get too choked up if I just try to say it. But on behalf of the congregation and on behalf of the care team, our hearts are filled with gratitude for the many years of service that you have given to caring for our people. In big and small ways, your warmth and generous spirit, ability to show up with love time and time again, has been an inspiration to all of us. Thank you for your leadership and your love.
please join me in the responsive reading under the volunteer recognition section of your order of service. When there was a need, you came forward. In the nighttime or daytime, on weekends, and even in the coldest, darkest part of the year, you helped. Sometimes with the help of many friends, other times alone, you worked. You gave your time, talent, and even your treasure for the life of the congregation. Your families and loved ones supported you in your efforts, worried for you when things piled up, and perhaps grumbled at you for the extent of your commitment. For all things great and small you have given this congregation, we take time to recognize. All right, now, all those things that you heard us recite about volunteers, if any of that applied to you, I'm just going off script here, I want you to stand up. I want the people to see how many people it takes. Let's give these people a round of applause.
Hi, I'm Jay Peterson, one of the pastoral associates for the congregation. Holding each other is a time to pause, to share, and to reflect on those moments that have especially touched our lives and our spirits throughout the past week. We companion one another with compassion. We sit with one another in times of joy and sorrow. To share something that has touched your life, please email pastoralassociates@unitytemple.org by Friday evening each week. You may also share in the live chat associated with the service. And the following items were shared with us this week. Reverend Dawn is grateful for the messages of support she is receiving from the congregation during her bout with COVID. She has particularly appreciated the soup and ginger snaps that we keep in the freezer, ready to be delivered to people in need. She hopes to be back on her feet soon. Magane Koshimura shares that her Ukrainian student needed to drop from her class last month due to his serious orthopedic surgery and recovery afterwards. He needs another surgery next month to amputate the right leg below the knee. His short-term goal is to go back to work as soon as possible and earn enough money to bring his parents and his son to the U.S. from Ukraine. Please hold him in your hearts and positive thoughts during these challenging times. Betty Lau shares that her woven quilt called Juneteenth 20 Heroics has been accepted into the Excellence in Fiber 7 show. It is in the Fiber Arts Now magazine and on display at the Schweinfurth Art Center in Auburn, New York, starting this Saturday. Congratulations, Betty. Zsolt Ilikas, the beloved former ministerial intern from Transylvania, Romania, communicated with Judy and Terry Grace this past week. They hosted Zsolt during much of his time in their home here in Oak Park while he was attending Meadville Lombard and interning at Unity Temple. Zsolt and his wife, Ilika, are both enjoying jobs with the UU Church in Transylvania, Romania. Zsolt is a chaplain for a school there right now. He is one of the main organizers providing assistance to a Ukrainian city, Kosovar, 10 kilometers inside of Ukraine from Romania. He drives truckloads of supplies into Ukraine, is in supportive contact with over 1,000 Ukrainians. And they are providing shelter for 40 families in homes and church buildings in Transylvania. He has been interviewed on French international radio about their Ukrainian assistance. So Zsolt continues engaged and effective where he now lives, so close to the Ukrainian conflict. Too many papers. Violence, poverty, and injustice impacts the lives of many people inside our community and throughout the world. We hold in our hearts all victims, families, communities, countries, and perpetrators whose lives are impacted and so often scarred by violence and injustice. May we all move towards peace in every step we take. Let us hold in our hearts all joys and sorrows shared, and let us be mindful of those that remain unspoken. Be an opening for your listening and sharing throughout your days and weeks ahead. In a reading for our service today, The Summer Day by Mary Oliver. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper, I mean. The one who has flung herself out of the grass. The one who is eating sugar out of my hand. Who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down. Who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I have been doing all day. Tell me what else I should have done. Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me what it is you plan to do with your one wild and precious life.
If you are someone who likes to come close when you're listening to a story, I would love for you to come and sit down on the floor near me. I'm going to need some helpers later, so this is a good time to get into ready position. All right, Micah's ready. So today we are celebrating Flower Communion, which is one of the few celebrations that is uniquely Unitarian and now Unitarian Universalist. Does anybody remember or can think of anything about Flower Communion. It has been 3 years since we've done this in person, so I don't know if anybody remembers anything. No, okay, all right, great. We're going to start from the beginning. This celebration is almost 100 years old, I think. So we're almost exactly there. And it's a celebration that was started by a couple named Norbert and Maya Čapek in what was then called Czechoslovakia. Now it's the Czech Republic. The Čapeks first found Unitarianism in the United States, and Norbert and his family left Czechoslovakia during World War I because it wasn't safe for them to speak and write all the ideas that they had. And when they came here, they were looking for a congregation where they knew their ideas and their questions would be welcomed. And their kids, this is the power of kids, they helped them find a Unitarian congregation. And the kids loved coming to religious education at the congregation in Orange, New Jersey. So how great is that? Okay, come on, that was pretty great. And in 1921, the Čapeks moved back to Czechoslovakia, which was now a free and independent country, and they started their own Unitarian church in Prague. And they did such an amazing job that their congregation grew to about 3,200 people. And they helped plant little churches all around the country, and there were about 8,000 Unitarians around the country. And the church, though, the church was like super plain. It was not a Frank Lloyd Wright building. They didn't have any decorations. They just had hard wooden chairs to sit down. We do have those. They didn't sing. They didn't have candles or a chalice. And worst of all, they had no treats during coffee hour. I know, right? The people would just listen to Čapek talk, and they would then talk amongst themselves, and they'd go home. So, in 1923, so like I told you, 99 years ago, Čapek wanted to create something beautiful in his church. And it was springtime, and he looked all around them, and he got this idea for a flower ritual. So he asked everyone in his congregation to bring a flower the next week. And the congregation, since they were Unitarian, they had all kinds of questions. They were like, what color flower should we bring? What kind? What size? How many? I mean, you can imagine. And do you know what Čapek said? He said, choose whatever kind you like. And so that day, many, many years ago in 1923, people brought all kinds of flowers. And when they saw the flowers all gathered together, they thought about how that gathering of flowers is like our gathering. All different colors and shapes and sizes, all needing different kinds of care. And each one is beautiful and important and special, just like each one of you is important and beautiful and special. In our flower communion ritual, after we gather all the flowers, then we ask some helpers to pass out the flowers, so each person, whether or not they brought one, goes home with a different one. It helps us remember that everyone is important and beautiful and special, and it helps us remember that we need to take care of each other and the world. And lots of people brought cut flowers today, and our awesome flower volunteer, Jane Coleman, arranged them in the baskets. She does an awesome job, and look how beautiful they are just sitting in the baskets. Thank you, Jane. Yeah, here she is, the flower queen. And so,
Can I add something?
yes,
All right, so we figured out a few years ago, there was always some leftover flowers. So I brought some rubber bands, and whatever's left over, I'm gonna do my best to turn it into little bouquets. If you see a bouquet, take it home.
all right. There's always more to share. Thank you, Jane. So in your order of service, there's a litany, and these are words that I'm adapted from Norbert Čapek, and these are the words they used in the congregation in Prague, adapted to consecrate their flowers. That means help make the flowers super special. And your job, all you have to say is, may these flowers be blessed. Infinite Spirit of life, we ask your blessing on these messengers of fellowship and love. May they remind us amid diversities of knowledge and of gifts to be one in desire and affection and devotion to your holy will. May they also remind us of the value of comradeship, of doing and sharing alike. May we cherish friendship as one of your most precious gifts. May we not let awareness of another's talents discourage us or sully our relationship, but may we realize that whatever we can do, great or small, the efforts of all of us are needed to do our work in the world. Okay, so I'm going to enlist these helpers, hopefully, to pass out the flowers. And while we do that, I'm going to invite you to sing the hymn that's in here, From You I Receive, to You I Give, Together We Share, and From This We Live. Marty's going to help us out. And we're going to work on the flower situation here. Yeah.
We've been coming here for over 50 years, and we've certainly been to 30 flower Sundays. But only once have I told this quick story. Reverend Chapek was beaten to death the second time he went into prison. We were visiting and touring, and we went to the museum at Dachau, and I just started crying because I didn't really know which camp he had been beaten. I brought home a pebble, a white pebble that is in the Jewish tradition, and I put it somewhere around here, somewhere around this building, to symbolize whatever.
From you I receive, you I give, together we share, and together we live. From you I receive, to you
Thank you. Sometimes when I am out walking our dog Lloyd, it goes along pretty smoothly. I walk along more or less in a straight line, sometimes listening to the quiet, sometimes listening to a podcast, while Lloyd keeps his nose to the ground, sniffing all of the very good smells. And sometimes it doesn't go quite as smoothly. Occasionally, we'll be walking along and Lloyd will pull over into a yard and just lay down in the grass. He's got his whole belly flat in the cool blades, his legs splayed out, and he looks up at me as if to say, "Yep, this feels good. We're going to be staying here for a while now." Sometimes then he'll do like a little army crawl, like he's elbowing along, moving, but keeping his belly in the grass. And then sometimes he'll just roll around and around, so all of him gets to drink in the deep goodness of those lush, deep blades of grass. And then usually he is ready to proceed. I mean, he looks so happy when he is doing this that I am tempted to do the same thing. Actually, I have done the same thing, but I don't think I enjoy it quite as much. Sometimes it's too wet, or it makes my clothes dirty, or I have trouble getting up. So, mostly if I want to enjoy the grass, I'll just take off my shoes and walk in it. But here's the thing about grass. For me, anyway, I don't really think about it that much, or I didn't anyway. But Lloyd has helped me to see how glorious it really is, which is pretty great. Also, every time Lloyd does this, I think of those lines from that Mary Oliver poem. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I have been doing all day. One of my favorite flowers are lilies of the valley. They grow in patches and have tiny, elegant white flowers tucked into big green leaves, and the aroma is one of my very favorite things on earth. They are not very tall, so sometimes in order to fully take in their smell, you have to get down on the ground to get your nose in the blossoms. And I do this on a regular basis this time of year when they bloom. I am willing to look silly for a good aroma. There's a small patch behind Gale House that I think of as my secret patch, which is ridiculous, I know, because even now I am telling you about it. It's only there for what seems like a very short time each year. Sometimes I wonder if I would enjoy lilies of the valley as much as I do if they bloomed year-round. I don't think I would love them any less, but I would be minus the anticipation and joy when they arrive unexpectedly and the slight sighing when they leave. It's funny how they are so delicate, and yet year after year after year, they come back, put on a show, and then leave. Besides Christmas Eve, Flower Communion is my favorite service every year. For as long as I can remember going to church as a kid, having grown up Unitarian Universalist, it's been something that I've always done. I didn't even always understand what it was all about, but I did know I had a flower in my hand at church, and that in itself was pretty awesome. When I was little, and sometimes still now, I would look at those big bunches of flowers gathered, and I might see one from afar that I would think, oh, that one is the most beautiful. That is the one that I want. And sometimes I would get to hold that flower, and sometimes I wouldn't. And sometimes I was kind of glad or sad about that. But here is one thing that I have learned about so many Flower Communion services. Every flower is beautiful. Every flower is beautiful, each in its own way. I have this experience when I visit various groups of young people in our congregation that when I go and talk with them, when I go and talk with the kindergarten, I think to myself, this is the best age. And then I go to see the fourth graders and I think, this is the best age. And then when I go to visit the high schoolers or the sixth graders or whatever, I think, this is the best age. And the truth is that all the ages have their wonderful parts, even grown-up ages. I could find something beautiful about all of these flowers. Our theme for the month of May is nurturing beauty. And that means that our job this month, especially this month, is to notice all the beautiful things around us. And it also means that sometimes we have to look for beauty when we don't see it right away. I think that sometimes kids are better at this than grown-ups. If you try and find the beautiful things, it can even maybe change your ideas about something. A few years ago, I preached about dandelions, which I don't really love that much. But now that I know more about them, I have come to appreciate them. They are super important food for the bees, especially early in the spring, to help the bees pollinate. That alone is pretty great. I think sometimes about some people think about dandelions and how they try and get rid of them. And dandelions, they just keep on being their own bright and awesome selves, blooming even in the cracks of the sidewalks. I read this somewhere recently. Be so completely yourself that everyone else feels safe to be themselves too. Be so completely yourself that everyone else feels safe to be themselves too. You know, a dandelion never tries to be a zinnia or a violet. It just is what it is. And that is a good thing for us to remember. I mean, imagine how boring it would be if we were all the same. Lynn Unger has this flower communion poem in which she writes, "What a gathering. The purple tongues of iris licking out at spikes of lupin, the orange crepe skirts of poppies lifting over buttercup and daisy. The voluptuous rhododendron and the plain grass are equally filled with themselves, equally declare the miracles of color and form. This is what community looks like, this vibrant jostle, declaring stem by stem the marvelous joining. This is the face of communion, the incarnation once more gracefully resurrected from winter." This is a vibrant jostle we have right here, gathered here in this room and in the rooms of all those people who are watching from other places. A vibrant jostle of flowers and people, each unique and wonderful and beautiful, all of us together making a gorgeous bouquet and community. Not all of us brought flowers, and those of you at home didn't receive these particular flowers, and still, there is always more to share, always extra love and care to go around, even from afar. Sometimes, when I am out walking our dog Lloyd, all goes smoothly. And sometimes he has to stop and sniff this or that because some other dog has left him a message and he needs to check it out. Another dog owner calls it all the doggy internet. It seems to be a way for the doggy community to communicate with each other. Sometimes all this makes our walks much longer than they might otherwise be, but I don't mind. Because of Lloyd, because of being part of a community, I've made new and different connections. I've learned different things, gained new perspectives, and seen so much more of the beautiful, kind of like what it means to be part of Unity Temple Unitarian Universalist congregation. Enjoy the flowers, maybe in your hands, but all around you too. Notice the beautiful and find it where it might be hidden. Know that you too are amazing and beautiful, just as you are. And so may it always be.
Hello, my name is Paul Beckler. I'm inside this $21 million business, nonprofit business called Bill, and they are making a major difference in Austin. I don't know if you know about it, it's primarily a gang prevention. center. But in the last 2 years, they've been able to raise enough money to build this facility, and it's provided a lot of purposes for people in our community. The biggest thing is it causes and creates purpose for many of the kids. In fact, this past year, Bill worked with 3,300 kids. They have 18 people working the streets, 4 of which work only with gun people that have been shot, and that's their kind of focus. And that's why the people around the whole state are giving money here, because they are making a difference. And I'm so excited the fact that we at Unity Temple can be part of that even more. Also, I might mention in this building, there's not only the gym and the physical fitness center, but they have a recording studio for the kids. They have a place for IT that kids can learn after school. They have art shops. They have drama places. They have places for woodwork. They have a lot of different activities. In fact, they have 116 people who now, that's a lot more than I had when I first started talking about them 3 years. And because they're making a difference in their core values fit right in with Unity Temple. We were at a gala last week, and Adam, and his main thing, we want to stamp out violence in Austin. And that really turned me on. We're going to help them in some way. And then guess what? We've got somebody to match that too. After the service, I'd like to have you come in. We've set up a booth. You can come in and learn more about Bill. So hopefully you can feel that you can really be a part of this. And thank you very much.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. May we each remember and notice our own and others' beauty. May we be held by this vibrant jostle of community and love, both this day and all our days. Please join with me in the words of our chalice extinguishing. Carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again. We're going to sing Sia Hamba, which is number 1030 in the teal hymnal. But we're going to have the words, some of the words are going to be up on the screen, or I'm going to shout out a couple of the verses. And I would like you to participate as fully as you wish, with all of your body as you wish. And feel free to move about the sanctuary and be all in. Are you ready? Let's do it.